One of the warning signs discussed in my last video that should make you worried about your chances of getting back together with a fearful avoidant is that they avoid dealing with issues. If you haven't watched the video, you should. Whether or not you get back together with your fearful avoidant, or if it's even worth trying to get back together, may depend on it. Sometimes, as badly as you want things to work, moving on is a smarter choice. So watch the video. If your fearful avoidant is avoiding difficult conversations, it means that you are not having honest conversations about your concerns, needs, and feelings. To understand why a fearful avoidant avoids dealing with issues or avoids difficult conversations, you must understand first and foremost what is going on inside of a fearful avoidant. When faced with a situation that makes them uncomfortable, a fearful avoidant, leaning avoidant, thinks to themselves, "I don't like how this feels. I need to get away before it gets worse." They don't know if things will get worse, but they are worried and afraid that they will. And their answer to worry and fear is to distance themselves from the situation and from the person they associate with what is making them uncomfortable. A fearful avoidant leaning anxious goes through the same thought process, but because they lean anxious, they may do some of the things that someone with a preoccupied attachment style does to restore feelings of security, like increase contact seeking and seeking validation before the attachment avoidance kicks in and they shut down or withdraw. So what do you do to get them to deal with issues and not run away from difficult conversations? The only way to help a fearful avoidant learn how to deal with issues is to create an emotional environment where they feel safe, secure, valued, and listened to. There are many ways to do this, and in this video, I'll discuss 7 of them. Number 1, be someone they feel safe to talk to. When you're dealing with somebody who gets cold and hot and gets close and pulls away, you can't just say, "I want this," or "I don't like that." First of all, you're not together, so they owe you nothing. Second of all, just because you think there is a problem doesn't always mean there is one. And just because you feel that a fearful avoidant is pulling away or ignoring you doesn't mean that they are. And third, you may be feeling the way you feel only because you are triggered. It is unrealistic to expect somebody else, let alone a fearful avoidant, to trust you with their emotions and deepest feelings when you can't even manage your own. So before you bring up a concern or express a need to a fearful avoidant, make sure that you have done your own self-check on why you feel the way you feel, and that you have considered your ex's perspective on the issue, and if possible, try to fix the problem on your own. If it's something you can fix on your own and you take it to an avoidant, you'll come across as not just needy but also codependent. Number 2, wait for the right opportunity. The right time to bring up any relationship problem, whether it's with an avoidant, with an anxious preoccupied, or even with somebody with a secure attachment, is when things are on the up and up, and there's trust both ways. This means that you should not bring up uncomfortable conversations before your ex even is comfortable with steady contact. Chances are that these conversations will push them further away. Wait until your ex shows signs that they want to keep the lines of communication open and they're initiating contact before you bring up issues from the past or current concerns and needs. With a fearful avoidant, it's sometimes best to wait until you've had a few face-to-face meetings before bringing up any concerns or needs. The reason for this is because fearful avoidants have a harder time trusting others, and if they can't trust you enough to meet you in person a few times, it means they feel safer with where things are and are emotionally invested in moving things forward. They may still not want to talk about the past or current concerns and needs, but at least they will not completely withdraw or cut off contact. If there is no opportunity to constructively address the concerns or express a need, wait until the situation is right and both of you are prepared or at least ready. Number 3, reframe the issue as something constructive. Don't say to a fearful avoidant, "Can we talk?" or "We need to talk," or tell them that you are upset and want to talk to them. A fearful avoidant has likely experienced situations which reinforce the notion that arguing or dealing with issues directly, expressing disapproval, or engaging in difficult conversations leads to unnecessary conflict negative consequences, and even a major fallout. Reframing the issue as something constructive sends the message that the conversation is likely to have a positive outcome. For example, I want to have a better understanding of, or I have been thinking of how we can work together too, or I always feel better when I know how you feel about. Then say what you want to say as directly and as simply as you possibly can. Back up your concerns, thoughts, and ideas with facts and credible research if possible. Constructively expressing your thoughts and feelings in a clear and direct way helps a fearful avoidant learn that dealing with differences can be healthy and rewarding. Number 4, try not to assign blame. You probably heard the saying, say what you mean but don't say it mean. So don't bring up a need or concern starting with you. You didn't respond, you are pulling away, you don't care about how I feel. Fearful avoidants don't like being a disappointment to somebody they care about. Any hint of blame suggests that they are deeply flawed and a failure as a partner. And it may seem to you that the fearful avoidant is not trying to be less fearful avoidant, but they are. And if they feel that you don't see or at least appreciate their efforts, they will stop trying. They may even withdraw and distance themselves from you. Starting a conversation with showing appreciation for the things the fearful avoidant has done or is doing right will make a fearful avoidant less likely to shut down, withdraw, or distance. Number 5, don't yell, scream, or raise your voice. Many fearful avoidants grew up in households where screaming meant or led to punishment, physical violence, or abuse. So when you scream, yell, and express out of control emotions, the mind interprets this as threat or danger. They feel unsafe and disengage or shut down because they learned early in childhood that the only way to be safe is to emotionally check out or leave the situation. To prove to fearful avoidant that you're safe, try as much as possible to always remain calm and stay on topic. Reassure them that you're in it together and that you're not leaving just because you have a disagreement. Number 6, tell them that they matter and their feelings and opinions matter. One of the biggest complaints I hear from fearful avoidant clients is that they never felt understood and that their opinions and needs were never respected. When I ask them if they ever brought their needs and opinions to their ex's attention, they say that they did. They tell me, I would suggest something, but we always ended up doing what she wanted or he wanted. Eventually, I stopped saying anything and just went along with whatever they wanted. Many fearful avoidants, especially if they lean more anxious, don't feel that they matter and don't think others think their feelings matter. So if you're going to bring up an issue, concern, problem, or need to a fearful avoidant, do I matter to you? Is a question a fearful avoidant needs to hear yes to. It is very likely that your fearful avoidant also has unmet needs and concerns that they have not brought up to you, or are avoiding talking about them because they're scared to death that they might offend you, and they would rather hide what is bothering them, delay confrontation, and suffer in silence until they can't take it anymore, then explode or walk away from the issues and from the relationship. It is important that you let your fearful avoidant know that their feelings, needs, and opinions matter. You can even go ahead and tell them that although you don't understand what it is like to be them, whatever they need from you, they can always tell you or ask you. You may not always respond or react the right way, but you will try as much as possible to understand where they're coming from. Number 7, if a fearful avoidant says stop, enough, or I'm done talking, stop. In your mind, you're thinking, let's talk and try to resolve this. But a fearful avoidant is thinking, this is getting worse and worse. This is why they say, I don't want to fight before you even say anything. They expect things not to end well and use your tendency to pursue the issue and not let up or give them space as justification for not wanting to have the conversation in the first place. And if this is something that's been ongoing, your ex probably thinks that they will be wasting their time talking about something that has no resolution or positive outcome. So constructively and calmly raise your concern or need, But if your fearful avoidant turns on the off switch, stop trying to make them talk or hear you out. You can bring up the conversation again at some point, but when they say stop, stop. A fearful avoidant is more likely to engage in the conversation the next time if they know that if they say stop, you will stop. In my next video, I'll be discussing warning sign number 2. That is a fearful avoidant refusing to take responsibility or work on their issues. So remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell to get notified of the next video.